And instead of just adding more teams, where we now have 7 teams and 7 teams together, and that type of thing, and we bring it up to another 3 teams. I think this is stupid. I don't think we should just target.
Well, greetings and hello there, everybody. It's me, your beloved Star Wars dad, Nooch Too Good, and we have been having a fun little, I don't know, is it a couple of weeks here, something like that? Well, a few days, we've been having a good time here at Galaxy of Heroes between several of us content creators talking about the brokenness of Grand Arena and how to fix said Grand Arena. It's been a really good discussion we had, and I think there are a lot of takeaways we can pull from this. When we take a look at me with my initial impassioned plea that I recorded on stream, Scribe's response, Egnard's response, Rabid Beaver's response, Gerbil's response, Fat Phil's response, Calvin Osmer's response, and that's it. That's all the responses. And you saw those guys talking here a minute ago and a little bit of craziness, but it's been a really good discussion, a very important discussion for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, especially about the early rounds of Grand Arena. And honestly, based on all of your feedback, everything I've heard from the community, everything I heard on stream, everything I heard from each of these content creators and all of their communities, this is a 99.99% issue in the Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes community that lower levels of Grand Arena, specifically Carbonite, Bronzium, they are broken and they need to be fixed. We've gone over all the stuff that's going on and all the things that are happening, but there is a significant level of breakage at the lower levels of Grand Arena where, small accounts facing large accounts with no chance to play, no chance to engage with the game, and it needs to be fixed or addressed. Now, everybody had really good ideas. And I want to give a special shout out first to your boy Calvin, because I really appreciated Calvin coming on with his table of scoring, scoring out the diagnosis of the problem, the solution, the hair, sorry, Scribe, I don't know what to say. I didn't do the table. It's just the verbiage, how you verbalize yourself. And, I was in the throes of passion, so to speak, anyway, ads, I don't know what that means, and the total score. And I really appreciate, thank you, Calvin. My hair is 100. My verbiage was 94. Even being like I'm just on stream, just kind of freaking out, just kind of ranting about everything that's going on. Even with all that, I maintained a high level of verbiage, according to Calvin anyway. And my final score, obviously, over 9,000. So Calvin, awesome. Thanks for your wrap up and your scoring. But I really truly appreciate the fact that you recognize greatness. You recognize excellence. You take a moment to say, this is excellent. This is over 9,000 excellent. Calvin, awesome. I think you're a really good guy, and I think you definitely look like Carthonassi for sure, even though you stopped the button-up shirts lately. I've gone to the tank tops and sweaties, but hoodies, but anyway, thanks for the recognition, Calvin. Now let's move on to the solutions from everybody, and I'm going to say this. I do think Calvin scoring me low as far as the solutions is absolutely fair. All I really did was say we need to have galactic power tiers. You can't be below 4 million. You can't be above 4 million and go down to Carbonite. Can't be above 5 million and go down to Bronzium. And that's too simplistic. It doesn't really work. It's not the same as the old system. There was one person, I won't mention their name, said that I was wanting to go back to the old system. That's just not true. I didn't advocate for that because I think the old system is too narrow and it's banned. You would be playing against like 24 players that are all within 20,000 of your galactic power, and it encouraged people to hold their rosters back, and we don't need that in the game. We need to be encouraged to move our rosters forward. What I said was I believe that the reward system built in already does that, and you can find ways to gate it. Now, Scribe started out talking and had the best point of all, and he pointed out, look, it's not that you're playing these guys that are playing and losing. You're playing people that aren't playing. I mean, this guy has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's playing 1 out of every 3 battles this guy is playing, and I don't remember the player's name. This should disqualify you from dropping down. Like, you should not be able to not play Grand Arena and still stay in Grand Arena and to just pound noobs. You just should not be able to do that. And I think we all agree that these kind of people need to be removed from the normal course of Grand Arena. That's really where Scribe got us started, talking about the solutions to this problem. And I'm going to jump a little bit out of order here. Beaver brought up, and this is actually something that Mike, covered for all of Grand Arena, putting in like one extra territory at the very back of everything that you can access by top or bottom. That's worth some more points. I don't know if that really applies to the problem, at hand, where we're talking about Carbonite and stuff being broken. It is an interesting idea for Grand Arena in the future. That is definitely something that would add another level to it, but I don't think that addresses the problem of Grand Arena being broken at the lower levels necessarily. And I don't really have a picture of it, but Fat Phil talked about it. I thought this was a great idea, and I think this has been discussed before. Zareth has even said this before, let's establish a Beskar League or a Challenger League, a Champions League of Grand Arena. The top 50 to 100 players in the game are in this Champions League, and we can celebrate like the absolute tippy top of the players in this game and separate them out. And so, then you could have Vexatron or Arnold or Zareth or whoever come on and say, okay, we're in Champions League now, we're in Beskar, and we got to hold our spot. I think that would be a tremendous boon to the game. And it's common, right? All these other games that have ranking systems, they have that extra tier just above the top tier. That's just for the pros, man. Just for the sweats, the guys that really hammer it out and have just got amazing rosters. I would love to see that extra tier above and beyond. And I think everybody agreed with that. I think even Calvin was agreeing. I just think everybody would really love to see that. Now I don't want to leave out Gerbil, but Gerbil basically came in and said, "Go watch those guys' videos. They're really interesting." And then he showed us how his Ewoks got another hold on defense. I don't know. Love you, buddy. But I really wanted to save the best till last. I thought Agnards did a tremendous job breaking this down and talking about solutions and mapping it out and putting it up there in front of our faces and making nice little graphics for us, even though maybe move the face down to the bottom when you're doing, like if you got graphics at the top, move that down. Just a thought. I don't know. Anyway, I thought Agnards did a great job of breaking down the solutions, and it seems to me that they're all common sense, really would be a big add to the game, and I'm not sure that Capital Games shouldn't be offering, him some, hire him on a contract basis or something to come up with these ideas, but I don't know if he can code or not, but regardless, the first idea, Chitin. A league below Carbonite. We already talked about the league maybe above, like a Beskar or Champions League. How about a league below Carbonite where new players go in? And new players can only play other new players. And they play Carbonite until maybe they're comfortable and they break out. The same as we have, these new player guilds, right? We've got new player guilds, the Frog Army, Dog Frog Army, Frog, whatever it is. That new players are automatically put in these guilds, and then they can look for guilds. They join these new player guilds and beginner guilds. Why wouldn't we have a beginner level of Grand Arena for somebody to get used to the game? Low rewards for it, a place where they get used to it, a single division, and you choose when you leave Chitin, and maybe at some point you're also forced out along the way. But once you've left it, it's in the past, it's the beginners. I thought this was a tremendous idea and a way to really smooth out the edges of Grand Arena for those new players. So you're not going out there and your first match is against somebody that's got 9 million galactic power and you only got 1 million. This is the one. Now, this is what Scribe was talking about, and Calvin had something to say about this too. The activity score. I think this is the idea above all ideas that could really, balance this out. You get an activity score. Now, we saw the roster that Scribe was looking at, that I was playing, where the guy only plays 1 out of every 3 Grand Arena matches, and maybe even less than that or more. I don't know, whatever. If there was an activity score to say, you joined this many Grand Arenas, you fought this many times, or maybe you exhausted this much of your roster, right? Because it's hard to say, if I go in and I only fight once against somebody because they have a big giant roster, I don't want to be penalized for that because I don't have anything else I can do about it, right? There had to be some way of measuring that, or if you played it all, just some way of measuring the activity of someone signing up for Grand Arena. And I think Calvin mentioned, I think this is a great idea, because I think Fat Phil wanted this to be out in the open. I think Calvin is right. This should be a hidden score. And yeah, we would all be like, oh, well, they can just do whatever they want with it. They can stick me here. Yeah. Okay. But if it's out in the open, then people can manipulate it and they can say, oh, I didn't play the last 3 rounds. I better play 2 rounds this time to keep my activity score up. And then I can skip the other one. No. Just, if you're going to join Grand Arena, play Grand Arena. I think it was Confucius that said, if you're going to join Grand Arena, play Grand Arena. Period. And if you don't play, your activity score suffers, you're going to get less points, and you're just not going to perform as well in Grand Arena. And I think the activity score, out of every idea mentioned, I think that is the pinnacle and really the tippy top of what could really handle this problem. You get the people out, and I don't know, maybe they go to like inactive carbonite, whatever you call it, or just a whole giant inactive bracket where the most you can get is like half of the rewards at the bottom of carbonite. Maybe you build disincentives into people not playing Grand Arena. Oh, can you imagine? God forbid that you sign up for Grand Arena, you drop down, you beat up noobs 1 out of every 3 times, and you get no punishment for it. Like there's no reason for you not to do that. Yes, have an activity score, build in the disincentives as far as rewards for people that are inactive, and let them suffer. I'm sorry, guys, if you don't like Grand Arena, that's fine. I mean, just take it. Just take it and move on. Go play Territory, whatever. That would make it much, much cleaner for everybody. And then finally, I think that the best here, now this is interesting, and this is kind of, I think Calvin said to reverse. Somebody said to reverse this, where you have larger gates at the bottom and it goes lower as you go higher. But Egnard's saying you have lower gates like reductive GP gates, meaning that you combine your skill rating and your activity score. So the skill rating we already have in the game, right? If we look at Grand Arena, there's your skill rating, 1756 is mine right there on my Carbonate account. Sorry for the screen, and you combine that with your activity score, and then you got to be within 10% to be in Carbonate, within 15% to be in Chromium, Bronzium, Rhodium, etc. Somebody mentioned reversing this. I don't know. How, that's kind of a tough one to know. You'd have to really see it on paper, see what it looks like. I think that's another great idea where it's not just saying, here's a score. It's saying, here's your activity score combined with what you're actually scoring. And we keep you out of Carbonite if you're not getting to that level, because it's just not fair to people in Carbonite, Chromium, Bronze, etc. So, I really think that was the crux of it. And I just think Egnard's took the best path to it, put together the most interesting covered up graphics for us. He offered to give me the graphics. I said, nah, I'm just gonna use a video. I had no plans to be devious. That was not the plan at the time. Sorry, dude. I apologize for that. But sometimes, you're making a video and you realize something and it's fine. Maybe I should have got the graphics. Sorry, Egnards. Good job. Well done. You put this together well. One other thing I heard mentioned, I can't remember who mentioned it. Maybe we were just talking about it. I thought Calvin had said it, but maybe not, is the Fog of War. It's not good. It's not good that whoever plays last has an advantage in Grand Arena. Like, you can see what your opponent scored, but that's just bad. There should be some way to kind of hide your opponent's score or activity, or maybe like as you play your first battle, their first battle is shown. That wouldn't work either, because you still have an advantage because you're going last. It just seems like it's not fair that if somebody's schedule is more conducive than them playing Grand Arena later in the cycle, and someone else's schedule is more conducive than playing earlier in the cycle, the person playing earlier should not be at a disadvantage because of their schedule. I don't know exactly how to do that, but like I said, a Fog of War where you cover up the maps, you don't see the scores till it's all over. That takes away a little bit from the drama where you're getting to the end, you got to get this many points, but maybe it just makes you go all out for your best score possible right up front. I don't know, just a thought there as well. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, that is really the solutions we have. I want to say thanks once again. Let's go back up here to, we could do this. Yes, thank you. Transitions. Scribe, Agnards, let's see here, Fat Phil, Rabid Beaver, Calvin Awesome. Oh, by the way, Calvin Awesome, he gave a score. I don't know if you're aware, he gave us a score. Let's take a look at that again. So he gave us a table showing the score, and I was over 9,000. I didn't know if you were aware of that or saw that previously or not, but it was over 9,000. And a big thanks to Gerbil for just saying go watch all those videos. That's what we got for today, folks. I hope everybody has a great day. We will talk to you soon, and always remember, Nooch too good.
And instead of just adding more teams, where we now have 7 teams and 7 teams Kaiser, and that type of thing, and we bring it up to another 15. I think this is stupid. I don't think. And instead of just adding more teams, where we now have 7 teams and 7 teams Kaiser, and that type of thing, and we bring it up to another 15. I think this is stupid. I don't. And instead of just adding more teams, where we now have 7 teams and 7 teams Kaiser, and that type of thing, and we bring it up to another 15. I think this is stupid. I don't think. Because that really doesn't happen.